I love it when people give me the opportunity to answer questions because I love being able to help and to support. And now this question I have been asked in a few sort of different ways of late. And it's obviously one that is really close to these parents' hearts as they are looking at this. And it's how do I encourage independence with a struggling learner? Well, here is your question answered. Hi, and welcome to Learning Life, and thank you so much for joining me today. Do you have a struggling learner, and do you wish them to be more independent? I get that. Sometimes it can feel draining. You're this parent, you're this teacher, but being more independent is really important for our children, whether they struggle or have learning issues or not. And I think that's a goal. We always want to have that. And if you have made it here to this video because you're how do I support my struggling learner? Hey, welcome. Thank you for joining us. And for everyone else, I thank you so much for your likes. It's not too late to like this, to subscribe, or hey, if you really get something out of this video and you know of somebody that might really get something out of it, hey, share it with your friend. Building and encouraging that independence is the same for all children. We need it. We need to build it in them. They don't just grow up and just know how to be independent. It's the same for all. But for our struggling ones, those with learning issues, those that just have some delays, it's going to just take a little bit more. More patience, more positive reinforcement, more clear expectations. And in this, we also need to make sure that this is going to suit their personalities and also their limitations. So we do want to encourage this independence in a struggling learner. Look, I'm a firm believer that we need to have strategies for learning. I did this, I was a learning coach and I loved it. I was working really primarily with children that had some neurological issues. But what I really saw is that it can work really with any child. And so what I loved doing was creating strategies that they could then take and use. We would create a folder of different strategies depending on what they needed to do. We'd create this folder, and this is something the next time they came up to that task, they could just follow the strategy that we set, Now, many children, actually most children are really going to learn strategies on their own. We don't realize that we've sort of created our own as we go along. But children with learning issues, learning disabilities, neurological issues, or struggles, they just need to be taught them. And there's some great strategies that are out there. And I want to look at some of those key things that we have, because if we can set them up and something that they can follow until it becomes something that they remember and can automatically do, this is what we want to do. Break down tasks. Being overwhelmed is a big thing for struggling students. And this is often because everything just feels it's too big and I don't know where to start. When we have big tasks, it might be a project or an assignment or anything like that. They often don't know where to start. It's too big, so I'm going to shut down. So what we want to do is divide this big task into smaller, manageable steps. It just makes it feel less overwhelming. It's just we can create something. Maybe it's a checklist that they do, or it's a chart. If you go from here to here, or if it's move through, is it going to be diagrams to help visualize? I love doing that. Using pictures, for kids who are younger is helpful. For our older ones, maybe it's more checklists. But if we can break it down, let's just say it is even writing an essay. These are the steps that we do to follow it. And the next time they have to write an essay, they can get out their strategy. They can follow that. This is great. Now, of course, we want to give them options within that task. We want them to have their input because they need to have some control and ownership in it. You know what? If they're going to design the strategy for them, they should have their voice in it. But breaking down tasks is such a great way to build up something for our children that we want them to have independence. So if we break it down and we know next time we come up, this is what we do, then this is going to be wonderful. Build self-confidence. We really need to build up self-confidence for our struggling learners. And that is really going to help with like their independence, because children who struggle will then internalize and start believing the worst about themselves. You know what? Well, I can't do this. I'm a failure. I can't do this. I'm the worst. And it becomes like in a sort of like they implode. We don't want that for them. So we can like celebrate their small victories, like their progress, like no matter how small, like celebrate it, build them up. You did it. Like this is wonderful. And in that though, like emphasize and really point out that mistakes, they're just learning opportunities. They are not a failure. They are not anything to say that you were terrible. It's like an oops, and let's learn from that. And in that, we also like want to be focusing on their personal growth. You know, this is like, look, you started here and like now you're here. Like this is great. And soon you can be here and we'll end up moving here. We are not comparing them to others. That is one of the worst things that we can be doing. We want them in their independence. It's for them. So we cannot compare them to others, but just focus on their personal growth. Teach problem-solving skills. All children, oh yes, all children need problem-solving skills. But if our children are struggling, they're going to need some extra time, like on learning this. So we really have to build on. You hear that? Like we have to spend this extra time, this repetition. We're going to help them to develop the habit of asking questions when they encounter difficulties. Don't shut down. Ask a question. Questions are so helpful. It helps me to know how you are thinking, how we can step into it, and then show them how that they can approach this, almost like a system. Again, like this strategy. Okay, when we break it down, because we've learned how to break things down, what are we going to do? Model it for them, because being able to see an example is so helpful. And we want them to tackle their problems on their own, like that independence in there. If we're always constantly just jumping in, they're not going to want to do things on their own. So hey, try it. If it fails, don't worry, learning opportunity. Offer the guidance when they need it, but we need to allow them to step into it. And even if they are struggling, okay, and let's do it and celebrate those small things. We will get there. Create a supportive environment. They need our support. They need those good, strong foundations. We can be one of them, but as we build up these other things, we need to ensure that they understand what's expected of them. Clear expectations are so important. What's our end goal? Independence. We're going to move through it. But even in all these little things, they need to know what's expected of them. And in that, we have our routines, because we want that sense of security. We have our strategy that we can pull from here. Oh, big tasks. I can break it down like this. Okay. And so that sense of security. And with it, maybe these strategies are a necessary tool, or maybe there's other resources that they can have that are within reach, that are easy to grab so that they can do it, because we want it to end up being on them, not us always stepping into it. And then even in this, encourage them to pursue subjects that they enjoy, because if it's something that they can enjoy, it's a lot easier to sort of apply these things to build up independence, because they enjoy it, rather than applying to things that they hate. They're not going to be invested in it. And when they also know that you have their interests at heart, oh, this can be so helpful. So remember, building independence takes time. And as frustrating as that can be sometimes, especially when it takes longer than you would like, we're going to get there. Our struggling kids, they're going to be nope, we are going to get there, because we've been patient and consistent and supportive. And remember that every small step forward is a significant achievement. Well, thank you so much for watching today. And if you have a question, whether it's on this topic, how I could maybe go into a little bit more, or a different one that you would love me to answer, please just shoot that comment below, because I would love to. I love being able to do your questions answered, because you know what? I bet you're not the only one. A lot of us have the same sort of questions, but if we don't voice them, we can't get our answers. And, check out my website, LearningThis.Life. It has a number of great tools and resources on there, so you can check that out. And if you would like to help get these videos out, you can do that. You can become a champion, and you can check that out at patreon.com or at my website, LearningThis.Life.